One can perform electrodiagnostic studies and generate a report for a new patient using 7 simple steps. Step number 1. Click on the New Patient button. If you do not see this button, you can click on the New Patient icon at the top of the window. Step number 2. Input the patient demographic information. The fields with yellow highlight are required fields. This information must be entered before we can begin testing. Also note that the date of birth must be input using the so-called Y2K format. It means we must put 2 digits for the date, 2 digits for the month, and 4 digits for the year. Once the date of birth is entered, the patient's age is calculated automatically. The patient demographic information will remain the same when the patient is seen on multiple occasions. The bottom portion of this window shows the visit information. The information in this section will be different when the patient is seen on multiple occasions. The contents of the patient demographic information as well as the visit information can be configured by the user as necessary. The units of height and weight can be selected as metric or imperial. This is a user-defined setting. Let us add information of the referring physician. This can be typed in using the computer keyboard. One can also use the so-called pop-up list to make the selection. Double-click in the window. The list of referring physicians is displayed. Select the name of the referring physician. We can similarly enter the name of the examining physician. And if it is not on the list, we can type it manually. The same strategy can be used for the other fields, for example, referral for the patient. Type it using the keyboard or use double click. Tingling and numbness in the left hand, wrist pain, neck pain, symptoms are worse at night. The contents of this list can be programmed by the user, and this is discussed in a separate video. After inputting the patient demographic and visit information, click on the OK button. Step number 3. Perform the electrodiagnostic procedures. The test menu can be shown in many different ways. Right now, we are looking at the display using the so-called test folders, which has been used in Synergy Systems. One can also use the anatomical view to select nerves and muscles, and this is discussed in a separate video. Before we begin testing, we can select the tested side. Click on the left side icon to select the left side, or the right side icon to begin testing on the right side. Select the test. For example, I will begin with the motor nerve conduction study. Select the test protocol. For example, median with APB recording. Notice the right side has been selected automatically. This is the selection we did earlier. Click on OK. All default test settings use the amplifier 1 inputs for recording. Connect the electrodes to amplifier 1 inputs and turn on the amplifier if necessary. Perform the recordings. I am finished with this motor nerve conduction study. Exit the test. We are back into the main display of the test menu. Select another test and make additional recordings as necessary. Step number 4. This is an optional step. Review the recordings. Click on the test history icon, and this will show us a list of all the procedures that were performed on the patient. Double-click on the desired procedure, for example, the motor nerve conduction study in the right median nerve. This will load the recordings from that study. To review the results of the next examination, click on Review Next icon. So these are the results from the ulnar motor nerve conduction study. Having reviewed the traces, click on the Exit button. As indicated earlier, this step is optional. Step number 5, report generation. Click on the report icon at the top. The report is generated online using Microsoft Word. The structure and contents of the report can be formatted by the user. In this setting, we have the information about the laboratory at the top. This is followed by the patient information and visit information. Next, we have the summary that is generated automatically using patient measurements and normative data programmed in the system. This is followed by a section where we can add more narrative, summary, interpretation, recommendation, etc. Next, we have the tabulated data, and in this case we can see that abnormal findings are highlighted with a yellow background. We can also define reference values in the report. As indicated earlier, the structure of the report can be configured by the user. As we review the tabulated data in the report, we may also recognize mistakes in measurements or recording. For example, in this case, the conduction velocity for the ulnar motor nerve is only 6 meters per second. Obviously, that's a mistake. We can very easily go back to the traces and fix this error. Double-click into the result table, and this brings us back to the traces. The distance over here needs to be corrected. That should be 250 millimeters. We have fixed the problem. I will exit the test, and now we will go back to the report. This is an online report, and therefore it gets updated anytime we make changes to our measurements or results. So in this case, notice the conduction velocity of 59 meters per second. So this is a very powerful way of reviewing the report and also reviewing the traces if necessary. We can add our conclusion using the computer keyboard. You can also use features such as auto text to drop in your standard templates of text. We are finished with report generation. If you want, you can print the report. Step number 6. This is also an optional step. We can save the patient report in a PDF format. It can be saved locally or it can be saved on a network drive. This file can serve two purposes. In some cases, it can be used as a backup for patient reports. Another way, this file may be used by your electronic medical record system to add the results of the electrodiagnostic study to the patient. To export the file, click on the export icon. When prompted, click on Yes. Step number 7. This is the final step. We are finished with the report. Let's close Microsoft Word. Click on the X symbol in the top right corner and click on the New Patient icon. the patient record is closed, and we are ready for performing electrodiagnostic study in another patient.